All right, so next we're getting into the Celtics and their overtime victory over Philadelphia 121 to 114 in Boston. So the Celtics, they continue to make their case as one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference with a to me a statement win at home over a solid Sixers team. Kyrie Irving scoring 40 points, Joel Embiid 34. You're one of those matchups that you love to see on Christmas or any other big game, with the star scoring their points. So we'll start off with Ibby with this one.
Hey, but you're up.
I'm up.
Yep.
All right. Great game. I was traveling down to Florida, so I only could listen to it on the radio, so I kind of watched it. But from what I heard, obviously Kyrie Irving tore it up, scored 40 points, came up big in overtime. But we all knew that Celtics would quit at some point sooner or later. They're sitting at fifth in the East right now, 20 and 13. They're 3 games back in second place. I think ultimately they'll probably finish in the third spot behind the Raptors and Bucks. I think they will surpass 76ers and Pacers at some point, and they will play the Raptors to advance the NBA Finals. I think they're so deep, they're so talented. It might be the deepest team in all the NBA. They're just so young and so skilled. They're wing players. They can go small, play small ball, and switch 1 through 5. A big portion of that, and obviously I'm biased, ex-Florida Gator, Al Horford, his absence and his lack of health has been really just hurting their team and chemistry. It just kind of shows all the little things that he does for them. It might not show up in the box score, but just his passion and his toughness that he plays with. Obviously, you can see that they're really missing him. But when he comes back, I think they'll be one of the best teams right there with the Toronto Raptors in the East. But it was a good win. 76ers can't put a finger on it. They always come up short. I don't know why that is. Even with a dog like Jimmy Butler, like I said in the past, they need some time to get that chemistry down between Embiid, Simmons, and Butler. But I think their calling card for some reason is they come up short. So Celtics, though, no credit taken away from them. Good win, and it'll be exciting playoffs.
I agree. Celtics will be a team to watch here going down the stretch.
Go ahead, Trav.
Uh Man, where do I start? It was a great game. I actually watched this game. It was kind of awesome just to see what Kyrie Irving can still do. Everybody knows, he could take over games single handedly, and that's what he did last night. He was in his bag, is what they say. I gotta disagree with Justin on the Al Horford thing. I think we've seen it this year that when Al plays bad, it doesn't matter. When Al plays good, it doesn't matter. I was a fan of him last year in the playoffs. His toughness, his drive is great. I just think he's finally started that. The look market that inquired about guys like Anthony Davis, etc. I think that's something they're going to need, especially if they want to compete with the Western Conference. I think, they might be able to do it because they're so deep this year. At the guard position, forward position, they might be able to get away with it with the Warriors this year if they do match up in the finals. But I think moving forward, it's one of those things they got to shore up. Tatum, he's a superstar. He's an upcoming superstar. Again, double last night. But I look at guys that like Marcus Morris, Marcus Smart, those type of guys. The role players, when they play good, even if it's just one of them, you see the Celtics really take off. Again, they're deep. They have Rozier off the bench, etc. They're definitely going to be one of the best teams in the East. They're going to be a team to fight with. Now, I'm going to use my pretender label on this. Philadelphia 76ers. They're my pretender. I do not like Ben Simmons. I don't think he should have won Rookie of the Year last year either. especially with it being a second year in the league. I'm definitely opposed to that. I've never seen a player rely so much on his body and athleticism to play the game of basketball than Ben Simmons. We were kind of talking about it before the show. The guy has no jump shot. He had his career long last night in a 22 Hail Mary that he threw up at the end of the shot clock, a 22-footer. So if that's telling you anything, and the guy supposedly is listed as a point guard. So to me, that's unreal. I think he didn't play well last night. He did crack double figures. Looks like he had 11 points, 14 rebounds. But again, if you want to be the face of a franchise, you want to be this hyped up person closest to LeBron, I don't see it. I think Ben Simmons is a bust. I think he's been a bust since he came out of the draft. And if he doesn't evolve that three-point shot with the way that the game's going, and if he doesn't evolve defensively and cut down his turnovers, I don't think his career is going to be very long. I'll be the first one to say it right now. So that's how I look 76ers-wise. Joel Embiid, I love his game. I think he needs to, tone it down mouth-wise, but I do love his game. I love what he brings to the court. He can stretch the floor as a big. He's that center mold that the NBA is looking for right now. Again, he played great last night. He went 12 for 12 from the line, which is uncommon out of a big guy. So, Wilson Chandler coming back healthy. He's helped. I just don't see, even though the East, again, is weak, I'm putting my pretender label on the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't see them getting through the first or second round of the playoffs. It doesn't matter what their matchup is, to be honest with you. Joel Embiid can play out of his mind, but I think it's going to come down to Ben Simmons playing poorly, their poor free throw shooting, and if JJ Redick can't get hot, it's going to be tough. Now, don't get me wrong, the Jimmy Butler acquisition, that could be great, but I think for Jimmy Butler to be the superstar that he needs to be, Ben Simmons has got to go. So that's my hot take on that. Fun game to watch, though. Very fun game.
Man, you just called Ben Simmons a bust. You want to talk about a bust? His name's Markelle Fultz. Guy can't even shoot right now. Not even a free throw. Anyway, the game. It was just a game. Grab my popcorn, sit on the couch. Just a great game to watch, to take in, at the good old TD Garden. Great matchup to watch. Two electric teams, and they're both, I think, we could see it down the line, Eastern Conference Finals. We saw it last year. It wasn't the conference finals, but it was in the second round or whatever. But it was an exciting matchup, even if it didn't go that long. I think it only went 5 or 6 games. But two really good teams. Boston's so fun to watch. Like, their depth is insane. To have Scary Terry come off the bench, provide 20-plus minutes every night. Same with Brown, him getting quality minutes off the bench. And even Hayward, he's getting 28. He didn't play that great yesterday. But, to have him, as a bench player, that's crazy. And they're starting to click now. So, early on this season, they kind of had, were shaky. But, no, I don't think, I think they'll make it back to the finals again. I do. And they're just really fun to watch. On the 76ers point of view, they played tough. Joel Embiid, I love to watch. There's something about him. I love all the stuff on social media. I think it's hilarious. I'm a big Pistons fan, but he does own Andre Drummond, and it is true. That is very true. And I don't know, he's just really fun to watch. He put up 34 points on, 10 of 17 shooting. Like, that's pretty good. And I'm surprised Wilson Chandler's kind of he had a decent game last night too. Played 40 minutes. But I think their kind of thing is they got some decent players off the bench, but after making that Butler trade, they lost some of their bench players like Covington. So it was a risk, but I think it will work itself out. They'll Chem more in the upcoming games, and they'll fight for that finals appearance. But I think they'll just come up short to Boston.
For me, when I watch the 76ers and Celtics, it all comes down to the 76ers management and how they have to throw open a trash can every time they watch this game because they drafted Markelle Fultz over Jason Tatum. And when they see that and they watch Jason Tatum beat them every time, they got to be thrown up in a trash can because that might be one of the dumbest things we've ever seen in the history of basketball because Markelle Fultz might not ever play again. And if he does play again, it won't be for the Sixers. And Jason Tatum is a young, upcoming superstar that's going to be a top 10 player eventually because he makes some big shots. He's not afraid. He's a gamer, brings great energy every night. About the game, Joel Embiid's the real deal. He's probably the best post scorer we have in the game right now. And then, Kyrie is Kyrie. He's a walking bucket, but Kyrie still gives them problems on the defensive side. He had to match up with Wilson Chandler, and Wilson was still able to do some things. And for the Celtics, I still think like Gordon Hayward just doesn't look smooth. And I know he's coming back, and I know it's going to take some time, but he just does not look smooth out there. So I think they got some things to still figure out. I don't think it's all perfect. I mean, I think at one point in the fourth, the Sixers almost got up like 8 or 9. And I was kind of like, whoa. And then, Kyrie and Rozier, like, it was like 3-3-3. And so they kind of like put it in the bag. But I don't know if the Sixers are a pretender. Ben Simmons has got to shoot the ball. He's only made 1 3 since high school. He has to just at least attempt some shots. Like we were talking about the Greek Freak, at least he attempts them. So I just think a lot of it is the management. Like, they don't develop players. Like, Fultz's jumper has gotten worse. Ben Simmons doesn't shoot. So it just comes down to that. They have the pieces to win a championship. JJ, I don't think he fits because the problem is now that you have Ben and Jimmy. JJ loves coming off screens, but these guys are like ISO players and they need spot up shooters. So I think sometimes they try to run double staggers and now they got to use like Ben Simmons and stuff in a double stagger where he should be a guy creating for people. So sometimes I still think they're working on it. It's going to take some time, but I'm not ready to say they're a pretender because Joel Embiid can keep them in series. We saw that last year. Like, he's able to do that. And Jimmy, he's not afraid of the moment. He'll take the big shot. But it just comes down the 76ers management. They should all fire themselves every time they play the Celtics because that's embarrassing in my opinion.
I'd agree, especially with what Markelle Fultz. I mean, anybody on this right now could probably shoot better than Markelle Fultz. And like you said, I agree with the Ben Simmons right there, Trav. You got to shoot the ball. I mean, like we said with Giannis, at least he shoots the ball. I mean, a scholar once said that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Shoot the ball, man. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You miss it, but Joel Embiid is in there to get you an offensive rebound, put the ball back in. So, I mean, what's the worst that can happen if you don't shoot the ball? But Sixers, they're iffy to me. I can't rule them out as a pretender yet, but at the same time, all it can take is one injury or one thing of drama here, and the whole thing could go down, and we'll have to start a new process here again, to get them back. But, 2 good teams, to me, 2 playoff teams, so who knows what this could bring toward the end of the season. So we'll wrap it up with the Celtics here, and we'll get into the embarrassment that was the Golden State Warriors.